Hello, today we're going to remove the steering wheel off of a Toyota Corolla. Okay, the first step is to pop the hood. And we're going to disconnect the battery using a 10mm wrench. This is to prevent any power being present when we remove the airbag. The risk of it going off is very low, but we just want to make sure there's no risk at all. Next, we want to pop off this decorative tab on the side of the wheel. There's one on this side of the wheel, and there's another one on the other side of the wheel, and they both need to be removed. With the plug out, it'll reveal a T-30 Torx fastener, and this is what holds the airbag onto the frame of the wheel. So there's one on each side, and we'll want to remove those now. And you may find that you need to pull on the airbag to keep tension on the fastener to get it to come all the way out. There we go. And then we'll just do the same on the other side. Now with the airbag free, we're going to pull it away from the frame and flip it over. And you'll see there's an electrical connector here. And it's a two-stage connector. It's got a clip that holds the clip in place, or that holds the electrical connector in place, and then there's a tab that you slide out to remove the electrical connector, and then the airbag's free. Okay, next we're going to want to remove the electrical connector for the steering wheel controls. So that'd be like the horn, or if you have cruise control. That's this connector right here. And just use a small flat head and push up on the tab on the bottom, and the connector will come right out. Now also with the airbag removed, there's a fastener at each side that fastens the airbag to the frame. You want to make sure those are seated in their plastic clips there, and that'll make reinstallation of the airbag much easier. Now we're going to loosen the center nut with a 19mm socket. Now it's a good idea to hold on to the wheel because you don't want to put all of the force on the steering wheel lock, and then usually the nut is not very tight. Now what's important is we don't want to take the nut all the way off. We just want to back it off so that it's still sitting on there, and then when we go to tap the wheel off, it won't come flying off. It'll just be retained by that bolt or the nut in place. Actually, at this stage, it wouldn't be a bad idea to take the nut off and mark where the steering wheel is in relation to the stud spline, and this will help you put the steering wheel back where you took it off. So you can just make a mark between the frame and the stud coming out of the wheel. But just remember to put the nut back on so when we tap the wheel off, it doesn't come flying off towards us. Now the Toyota wheels generally aren't really tight on the spline. You can use the steering wheel puller and pop it off, but generally speaking on the Corollas it's not necessary, it can just be tapped off. So that would be facilitated by just hitting the back of the wheel, and there, it's loose. At this point you can now take the nut off of the stud, and since the wheel is free, you can just pull it away from you, and then the wheel's off. Now if you were going to be doing any service to, say, let's replace the windshield wiper switch or the turn signal switch, you just undo these two fasteners here, and there's another one underneath here, and there's clips on both sides. So you just carefully unbolt it and unattach this lower plastic cover. And then for the turn signal stock, there's two Phillips fasteners this way and an electrical connector underneath, and this turn signal assembly just pulls out. Installation is the reverse of removal, and you just have to remember when reinstalling the airbag harness that you have the primary clip and the secondary clip on the airbag. So let's do reinstallation now. We'll make sure that the airbag electrical wire goes through the hole at the top of the wheel, and we want to make sure that the steering wheel lines up to our previous marks. Okay, and so we've got alignment between the stud and the frame right there, and then we reattach our nut. Okay, with the nut finger tightened down, we then take our 19mm socket and we tighten down the nut. Now you don't have to go bananas, but you don't want it to be loose. There we go. And then we're going to reinstall our electrical connector for the steering wheel accessories. So you just make sure you push until you hear it click. And there we go. Okay, next we want to make sure that the airbag fasteners are seated in their little plastic clips, and you'll see the head of the fastener has a groove, and we're going to want that seated inside this plastic clip, and that'll make reinstallation of the airbag possible. So we'll take the airbag here and we'll reconnect the electrical connector by making it click, and then we can't forget the secondary harness, so we'll clip that into place. Now with those two fasteners located there, we should be able to place the airbag back in its location there, and you can see how it looks like it's seated correctly. It has a nice gap on each side and it looks even. So if it's in its right home position, all we'll need to do is take the T-30 Torx driver, and these fasteners should thread right into the airbag. Okay, now we'll take our T-30 bit and engage the airbag fastener into the side of the airbag assembly. So you push in and twist, and it should be lined up correctly and should engage the airbag. So twist, 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 and there we go. It's seated nicely. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now once both sides are run in finger tight, we'll take a ratchet and we'll make sure we cinch it down. Again, it doesn't need to be crazy tight, but we just want to make sure that it's cinched down. Once the fastener is cinched down, we're going to want to remember to replace the decorative plug. There we go. And last but not least, we're going to reconnect our battery. Just put the wire back on the post and reconnect it with the 10mm wrench. Okay, we want to make sure that's tight. Don't want to break anything. And there we are. Job done. Thanks for watching.